Southern New England's trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
And a good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Casey Cantz. Doreen is on assignment. Want to begin this afternoon with election coverage. Or the weather. Let's begin with the weather because you see the clouds out there. We're coming off a day and an evening with some rain yesterday, Chelsea, and certainly we've talked a lot about this. Our area has needed some rain for quite some time. That'll put a little bit of a dent in it. Is the rain going to continue today?
Yeah, you know, today we still have the chance of rain in our forecast, but today it's much more isolated, kind of hit or miss, not a day where everybody sees rain. And there were some jackpot totals yesterday, some with lesser amounts. We'll talk about that in full weather. Outside right now at noontime, it's overcast. Temperatures are a little bit warmer than yesterday in the upper 70s, and with the high humidity levels, we feel a couple of degrees warmer than that. Most of us sitting in the mid to upper 70s range. We've had a few pops of sun out there in the morning hours, but at this point some rain is getting a bit closer as we head into the afternoon. What you're looking at are some spotty hit or miss showers, but there are embedded thunderstorms possible and some downpours in those cells showing up just off to our west. You can see the direction they're moving kind of towards the northeast at the moment. So northwest Rhode Island getting ready for a few isolated showers, a few isolated downpours. There is some thunderstorm activity really popping still far to our west, but we'll be watching for isolated downpours and isolated thunderstorms as we head through the remainder of the afternoon and into the early evening hours before we start to dry out completely. After this batch of scattered rain showers today, we do see dry conditions in the coming days. I'll let you know if there's any more rain in that 7-day in just a few minutes. Casey?
All right, Chelsea, thank you for that. Turning now to our election coverage. Candidates for Rhode Island governor making their pitch to voters today, focusing on issues impacting children in the state. That forum wrapped up just moments ago. It was hosted by ABC6 anchor Doreen Scanlon, and ABC6 News reporter Yanni Trigelis was also there for the event. He joins us live now with a recap. Yanni, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Casey. Well, gubernatorial candidates discussing a wide range of topics impacting young kids, that ranging from Head Start funding to paid leave to early intervention child care funding. But all of the candidates campaigning on a key point, that children will be a part of their plan. Now, 5 of the candidates for governor in attendance at this forum today, hosted by ABC6 News anchor Doreen Scanlon, as you just said. And those candidates were Matthew Brown, Helena Bonanno-Folks, Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea, Ashley Callis, as well as Dr. Luis Daniel Munoz, all taking part in this forum. Now, the candidates saying they will turn around what they call failures and oversights of recent governors by putting funding into Head Start programs as well as early interaction programs. Now, these candidates say attacking the current governor's policies, which took center stage with him not in attendance this morning. Now, all candidates agreeing on one of the major points of the forum, implementing more structure in DCYF and filling those positions that have been left vacant through recent administrations, as in the last 3 years and in 5 of the past 7 years, the DCYF has been led by an acting director.
Unlike Governor McKee, I'll prioritize naming permanent directors to DHS and DCYF. I won't leave the agencies understaffed chronically.
We have a system that doesn't work. And even when we look at the recent actions the governor took to fill some of the 90 open positions at DCYF, where did they come from? From the nonprofit organizations that were serving the children and the families. It didn't solve the problem.
I will make sure that we have a government where the leadership listens to the people involved in these issues.
And again, Governor Dan McKee not able to be in attendance for this forum today. He was scheduled to appear, but of course the governor testing positive for COVID on Saturday night, so he instead offered a video message instead to the people attending this forum today. And it also is important to note that today is 3 weeks from the September 13th primary, and it is the last day to send in a request for a mail-in ballot. For now, reporting live in Providence, Yanni Trigelis, ABC6 News.
All right, Yanni, thank you for that. We'll stay in Providence. The Democratic candidates for mayor will answer questions shortly in a debate sponsored by the Providence Rotary Club. Gonzalo Cuervo, Nerva LaFortune, and Brett Smiley will present their views on the city's future. That debate's set to start here in about 11 minutes or so, 12:15. You can see it for free. It'll stream on Zoom. We have that link up on our website, too, at abc6.com. And now to the latest on the search for former President Donald Trump's Florida home. The New York Times reporting today the government recovered more than 300 classified documents from Mar-A-Lago since Trump left office. ABC's Jay O'Brien has the details today as Trump challenges the search in federal court.
The New York Times now reporting the federal government recovered more than 300 classified documents from former President Donald Trump's Mar-A-Lago estate in the last year. Some of the documents are reportedly from the CIA, National Security Agency, and FBI, and cover a variety of national security interests, all stored at Trump's Florida home, which doubles as a club for paying members. Some of the documents seized reportedly had the highest level of classification. Congressional Democrats concerned about how those materials were secured.
300 pages, a basement stairway away in an open, beach house is not where you would want that information.
For more than a year, the National Archives has been asking Trump to return documents they say he improperly took from the White House. The Times alleges Trump himself reviewed the documents last year, telling advisors they're mine. But under U.S. law, any presidential records remain government property. Trump initially turned over 15 boxes in January, which the Times says contained more than 150 classified documents. But the FBI believed there were more. And this month, agents returned with a search warrant, seizing an additional 27 boxes, including 11 sets of classified records. Republicans demanding transparency.
If you're going to turn to the former president and Mar-a-Lago, they want to make certain that this is to the highest level. There's an imminent national security threat.
In a statement Monday, Trump again called the search unwarranted. His lawyers are now asking another federal judge to appoint a special master, an independent outside official, to determine which, if any, of these documents Trump was entitled to possess. The DOJ responded, saying their search was legal and authorized by a federal court. Jay O'Brien, ABC News, Washington.
And back here at home, an ABC6 News update today. Ballard's on Block Island won't have its liquor and entertainment license for 14 days starting today. That decision coming after a lengthy show cause hearing in front of the New Shoreham Liquor Board last night. The board concluded that Ballard's permitted the establishment to become disorderly and presents a danger to public health and safety. Owner Steve Philippi said Ballard's was not to blame for the overcrowding.
Everyone was put in this unprecedented situation. Hopefully it never happens again. Everyone, including the entire Ballard staff, everyone put their best effort to make sure that everyone got home safely. And besides the ferry ride home with all those arrests, I mean, considering there could have been other major things that could have happened that they didn't.
Well, this all stems from a fight that broke out on the Block Island Ferry after Reggae Fest at Ballard's earlier this month. 8 people in total were arrested. Still to come today at noon, a civil rights investigation underway after video of police officers in Arkansas beating a suspect on the ground goes viral. What authorities are saying about where that stands today. Plus, will the January 6th House Committee call Mike Pence to testify? What the vice chair says about that possibility. Stay with us. Back with more national headlines now, and the latest out of Arkansas today, where 3 officers have been suspended over a violent arrest caught on camera. ABC's Rena Roy shows us that graphic video.
Multiple investigations are underway into this violent arrest in Crawford County, Arkansas. You can see officers hitting, punching, kneeing, and kicking suspect Randall Worcester as they took him into custody Sunday morning. And when a bystander asks for them to stop, they lash out at her. The 27-year-old South Carolina man accused of threatening and spitting on a store clerk at a Mulberry convenience store. Officers later finding Worcester nearby.
The officer asked him if he had any weapons on him, and he said he did, and I believe he at one point handed it over to the officer.
The sheriff's department saying the suspect turned violent when they moved to detain him, but it's unclear what exactly happened before the start of the video. The woman who recorded this video writing in a text message to ABC News that he was sitting down talking to the cops. It looked fine at first, and then he got up to try and run, and they tackled him to the ground and started hitting him.
They will be punished for what they did if they are found to be in violation of any rights, laws.
The officers identified as Crawford Sheriff Deputies Zach King and Levi White and Mulberry Police Officer Thel Riddle. The lawyers representing them say there is body camera footage that captures the entire incident, including the suspect allegedly slamming an officer to the ground, but that video has not been released. The officers involved have been suspended pending the results of an investigation by Arkansas State Police. The U.S. Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice are also investigating whether Worcester's civil rights were violated. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Elsewhere, political news today. The January 6th House Committee still wants to hear directly from former Vice President Mike Pence. Committee Vice Chair Liz Cheney saying Friday the former Vice President played a critical role on January 6th. Earlier this week, the former Vice President said he would give due consideration to any formal invitation to testify. Cheney also would not rule out the possibility the committee would invite former President Donald Trump to testify. And it looks like the White House may tie student loan debt relief to an income threshold. The Biden administration reportedly leaning towards canceling up to $10,000 in student loan debt for every borrower, but they have to earn less than $125,000 a year. President Biden's plan could be announced as soon as tomorrow. The current pause on federal student loan payments is set to expire August 31st. And still to come today at noon, how Rhode Island's congressional delegation is looking to help farmers amid the drought. Well, even with a little rain on Monday, the state remains very, very dry right now. Senator Jack Reed announcing federal relief is on the way to Rhode Island. The U.S. Department of Agriculture granting a disaster declaration for all counties in the state, meaning farmers in the state can apply for the next 8 months for relief.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Yeah, Casey, we'll take a look back at that rainfall from yesterday. There were some spots that really had some jackpot totals, other spots that got rain, but not a ton of it. What we're looking at is some higher totals in northwest Rhode Island, that western edge of Rhode Island, and then also out towards the Cape, some really high totals showing up out that way. Some spots got over 2 inches of rain. Now at T.F. Green Airport, we ended up picking up just over 1/4 of an inch of rain. That puts our monthly rainfall total still below 1 inch, where typically at this point in the month, we should have over 2.5 inches of rain. Just dealing with that deficit there. And when we look at our yearly rainfall amounts, we're still at more than a 5.5 inch deficit, even with the rain that came through yesterday. Now, again, this is at T.F. Green Airport, where we got just only over 1/4 of an inch of rain yesterday. Other spots did get 2 inches, but even if we factored in 2 inches of rain, we're still dealing with quite a deficit in our yearly rainfall total. So extreme drought conditions continue. We get an update on that drought monitor on Thursday morning. That may put a dent in some spots, but really we're still dealing with extreme drought conditions. Now, the cutoff for that drought monitor for each week is Tuesday morning. So whatever rain we're seeing outside today is not going to factor into that drought monitor. And today we do still have some scattered showers in the forecast and some isolated downpours, but it's just that. It's more scattered today, more hit or miss. It's not something that everybody sees. We are going to see our highest chance of seeing some of those downpours pushing into north and western Rhode Island as we speak. Now, these really are very isolated, but in these little cells that are showing up, there's the potential for brief, heavy downpours, and some thunderstorm activity is showing up well to our west. Looks like most of the thunderstorm activity at this point is going to stay northwest of us, but there's some activity starting to pop over Long Island that we'll watch as we head through the afternoon and into the early evening hours. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s right now. It's a little bit warmer than yesterday. Breeze is coming in from the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour, and it's still feeling really humid outside. Our dew points are in the upper 60s and low 70s, so still a very humid feel to the air, a very uncomfortable feel to the air, and that's without the rain today. We're staying with the very high dew points this afternoon, and what you're noticing on that muggy factor is we're continuing to stay pretty muggy in the coming days. We get into sunshine for Wednesday, Thursday, and part of Friday. Some storms possible late Friday. Behind that is when we'll start to feel more comfortable as we head into the upcoming weekend. Here's a loop over the past 6 hours. We had a little bit of sun popping through this morning. At this point, most of us are dealing with a lot of clouds, and we're watching for isolated showers and storms now that we're heading into the afternoon hours. This still stems from the system that brought us all that rain yesterday. A warm front pushed through. At this point, low pressure system is still wrapping around some of that moisture, and we'll still look for isolated showers and storms to show up through the afternoon and early evening hours. Again, more isolated, more hit or miss, but where we can pick up on some of those downpours, have to watch for some ponding and puddles on the roads, but any rain we can get will be good. You're looking at sunshine tomorrow, sunshine for Thursday as well, and we'll continue to stay dry through the middle portion of the week. Temperatures will warm into the mid to upper 80s for Wednesday and Thursday. Friday still warm and muggy with a chance of a late day shower or storm, and then over the weekend we're looking bright and seasonable. Casey?
Sounds good, Chels. Thank you for that. Still to come today at noon. It is Tuesday, which means the RISPCA is here today telling us about a foster program that'll help them deal with a large influx of kittens right now. That's coming up. Welcome back. NASA is releasing dazzling new images of Jupiter from the James Webb Space Telescope. Look at this. High-detail images of the solar system's largest planet show the northern and southern lights flickering around Jupiter's poles. The photos were taken in July and also show the faint rings circling the planet and 2 tiny moons. And a special birthday at the Smithsonian's National Zoo in Washington. Giant panda Shou-Chi celebrated his 2nd birthday. The zoo helped him celebrate with a fruitsicle cake containing some of his favorite foods like apples, pears, bananas, sugar cane, of course, bamboo. This year, the Smithsonian Zoo celebrates 50 years of its giant panda conservation and breeding program.
Pick of the litter, brought to you by Moriarty's Invisible Fence.
Here with Wayne from the RASPCA, a couple friends with us today as well. We got Luca, Asher, and a couple of kittens here today, Wayne.
Yeah, we've got Blue and Lilac. They are kittens who are about 11 weeks old. Now, the reason Luke and Asher are with us is that Luke and Asher are part of a foster family and part of our program for fostering cats. We've got 40 kittens in foster that are about to, within 2 or 3 weeks, they'll start filtering through the shelter so that people that are interested in kittens can come to us. In this case, these 2 came in and they were very sick. So we need special friends to take care of them because we can't mix the sick kittens in with our general population. And Luke and Asher have been taking care of these 2 guys for us at their home. Now their home has another dog and a couple of cats, so that when these kittens come out to be adopted, they are going to be good to go in any type of home. They've got experience with kids, with a dog, with cats, and these guys have been fostering for us for a while. They've done kittens, they've done puppies. They're part of our go-to foster network, and we really appreciate having them. So these kittens are a bonded pair. We're looking to adopt them together, and they are cute as can be.
They really are. How important is the fostering part of getting these cats eventually adopted?
Well, in terms of cats, it's very important. If we have a litter of cats that have not been weaned, we send them out. Luke and Asher have actually bottle-fed kittens until they are in a position when they can go out in the world on their own. But we've got over 150 animals in foster care. It more than triples the size of the number of our organization and keeps us going, and we couldn't appreciate more what our foster families do. They've been great.
Our friends at home, if they would like to adopt or foster, how can they get in contact with you?
They can get it to us at raspca.com or call us at 438-8150. These 2 are going to go quickly. They're going to be neutered, and they'll be ready to go in a couple of weeks. So if someone wants to sign up to take them home, give us a call.
Wayne, thanks as always. Appreciate it. Luca,
Jason,
Asher,
it's always great.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We're back with more. Well, did you see this? One of the rarest plays in baseball playing out in Minnesota last night. Twins first baseman Jose Miranda catching a line drive off the bat. Nathaniel Lowe tags the bag and then throws to second to double up the runner there. If you're following along at home, that's a 3-6 triple play. The Rangers, though, still get the last laugh last night, winning the game 2-1 over Minnesota as the Twins continue to fight for a playoff spot. Chelsea looking up at those pesky Cleveland Guardians in the AL Central right now.
Gosh, that was smooth. That triple play.
It's beautiful, right? You don't see that often.
No, that was
well
cool to
done.
see. Yeah, absolutely. We are looking at the risk of some isolated showers and thunderstorms heading into the afternoon and evening hours. They're hit or miss, meaning some of us will get into some downpours, others may stay completely dry today. We dry out overnight, we become brighter for tomorrow. We'll be warm with temps in the mid to upper 80s to close out the work week. Another round of an isolated shower or storm late Friday, and then mainly sunny and dry as we head into the upcoming weekend. Casey?
Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate that. Thank you, folks, for watching today as well. It's going to do it for us. The news continues first at 4, and for news and weather anytime, you can check us out at abc6.com. I'm Casey Cance. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.